This week on Two Noobs, we are covering media bullshit throughout Fox News, CNN, and also sports media. What a shock, ESPN. Apparently, there is a kangaroo on the loose. Matt, what are we going to do about this? And wrestling talk. I know more than you do. Hit the music.
Hey everyone, welcome to yet another episode of Two Noobs Talking. This is episode 239. We are the podcast that puts the fun in profundity. I guess it didn't really work anyway.
That was awesome.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Good work, man.
Oh, thank you. I try. Got to do a little bit of substitute work now that we have our host that apparently just decided to up and leave us for the weekend. What the hell, Steve? Good grief.
We still love you, Steve.
We still love you. Yeah, you're down in North Carolina with your brother. Shout out to Glenn. What's going on, man? Even though the Cowboys still suck, we still love you, right? The end of the day.
It's a fair statement.
There you go.
Yeah. I will allow that.
Yeah.
I will allow that in this one.
Oh, there you go. I'm glad that passed your muster there, bud. But with me, of course, is the original guy who created this. To my right over there.
I didn't do anything.
I
did not do anything.
It's Mr. John Tracy. John, how you doing, man? What's going on? How you been?
I'm doing great, Matt. How are you?
I'm doing great. Of course, I'm Matt Craig.
I got some great.
Yeah, go ahead.
I got some greats, just so you know.
Oh,
before you introduce yourself. I got some greats, so just be prepared.
Yeah, I'm sitting down. That's the thing. Of course, I'm Matt Craig. I co-host another podcast. You may have heard of it, Men in Orange and Black. We'll throw their channel up there in the upper right corner. We did a full year, of course.
It's awesome.
Yeah, Steve and I did that. Covered the last year, and hopefully we'll soon find out the Flyers' new head coach. I don't know who it is yet. I do know that Mike Sullivan got hired by the Rangers like almost immediately, which I think was a desperate move on their part. Yeah, I guess. Yeah. After he was canned by Pittsburgh. But Flyers are going about their search, I think, very, very slowly and judiciously. So we'll see what happens in the next maybe month or maybe a couple weeks. But
go to the podcast up there because they'll explain it better.
Yeah, we'll have that. I'm sure we'll probably cover that, and then we're probably doing a draft thing, and then we're probably going to do a whole July 1st thing. So
awesome.
Yeah, and then we'll do another season of the Flyers coverage. Men in Orange and Black, check us out. In any event, Johnny, it's starting to get a little humid up here. We're going to get rain right around the corner. Apparently, we're going to get like deluge with rain, which we need up here because this pollen is driving me absolutely insane right now. I'm sneezing all over the place. Sneezed right before we started recording. Good grief. What's it like down there in Texas there, bud? What's it like?
I'm glad to be out of there. I'm back to to high 90s and no humidity. I'm just happy. I'm happy to be home.
It's like it's almost like a dry heat.
Home, but yeah. It's easier.
Yeah. It's funny. It's like when you came up here like a few weeks ago, it was like cold, rained, and it was like in the 40s. It was like, what the hell?
That was some bullshit.
It was.
That was some bullshit.
It was. It was awful. But we
made work in that. That was terrible.
Yeah. I don't know how you do it, honest to God, being out there all the time. It's crazy. But glad you're here. Glad you had fun. Glad to see you, of course. But
yeah, glad to hang out with you and glad to see you and Steve. And glad to see my family. Glad to be out there. I had a good time.
Rocking and rolling.
It's not going to be the last time. I can tell you that.
Yeah, there you go.
That's the only thing I can say.
Yeah, I can't wait for that. So that'll be a lot of fun when we get back up here, get a return trip going. So. In any event, Johnny, I guess why don't we go ahead and just transition quickly right on over to our W Energy Drink Fun Fact of the Week, brought to you, of course, by W Energy Drinks. Visit their website, w.gg, and of course, if you enter our promo code, Two Noobs Talking, that's TOONOOBS Talking, gotcha, Steve, you'll get 10% off your order. And if you don't believe me, right there, look at that right there. Promo code
There you go.
applied. Look at that right there. 10% off your order. I don't have anything catchy to say in regards to the thing, to their drinks and whatnot. And of course, like when I spelled W, I spelled. Yeah, go ahead.
If you like energy drinks,
yeah,
this is a company that does formulas that doesn't have the crash, doesn't have the high sugar levels. They're doing it. The statement is basically they want to create an energy drink that doesn't hurt you in the long run.
Yeah,
like the others on the market.
Heck yeah.
That's why we affiliate with them.
I love it. So yeah, give it a shot down there. There's a lot of stuff that they're selling, a lot of tubs, a lot of all kinds of other crap in there. I mean, bottles and all that kind of neat stuff. So w.gg, promo code 2Noobs talking, 10% off your order. Gotta love it. Johnny, fun fact, hit us with it. What do you got, man?
All right, if I can read quickly enough. Water sounds different depending on the temperature.
Ooh.
Heat changes how thick water is. Which affects the sound.
Interesting.
Water makes, as it's running, cold water is a higher pitch than hot water.
Huh. I would not have called that, to be perfectly honest. That would make a higher pitch sound, but I guess it does make sense.
I don't even understand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like if you're boiling it, you're basically like you're converting that water into steam. So there's less of it, I guess, from the science of it. Like when you do pour like hot water in there, it would sound higher or less. You would get less of a ambient noise sound. I have noticed that actually. I just didn't.
Yeah.
Just didn't click until just now. So that's a pretty cool fun fact.
There you go. I just reported. I don't know much about it.
To try that experiment, right? All right. So I am sitting down for this over 40. Hold on. Let me just readjust my chair here. Okay. You have over 40.
Anchor down for this one.
I'm worried about it because like I have had a peaceful day mostly the entire day here, Johnny. So I can't,
This is not time for peace, Matt.
Oh boy.
We're at war.
What? Oh no. Oh God. What do you got for us? What's the matter?
So I was sitting down with my coworker, having a beer, relaxing, just talking about the day we worked and everything like that. And a soldier came up to us, and he wanted to cook a steak, and there was only one working grill, so we switched out. We switch out some things, and we're like, hey, just cook it over there. But we were talking to him. He's on the border. He's been in the military for like 10 years.
Okay.
What frustrates me is the comment he made is, I'm not treated very nicely down here.
Oh, interesting.
Because we're protecting the border.
Huh.
And I call bullshit. I call bullshit on that. And he's like, it's not the people that I meet. He said the locals treat me like shit here.
Huh.
And we don't like it. And I have a fucking problem with that. To be honest with you.
Yeah.
I have a real problem with that. That wasn't his decision to be there. He was tasked by the President of the United States
to secure the border
and other people to secure the border, and that is what he's doing. He reported very nice things about the border. He said it's going really well. There's not a lot of craziness going on.
There you go.
But the one caveat he had was he's treated like shit down here.
It's amazing.
And I'm in McAllen, Texas.
Okay.
I'm in McAllen, Texas, just so everybody can kind of understand. That broke my heart.
Yeah.
It really did. It broke my heart because he didn't ask to be here.
No. And he's serving his country, and that kind of a deal. And
yes.
Yeah.
Rightfully so. Like he's doing the will of the president who decided that he is not effing around.
Yep.
And for locals to treat you like shit.
Yeah.
And that was his words. Like, that's not it's not hyperbole. He's not like, oh, they're rude to me every once in a while. No, he said they were getting treated like shit.
Yeah.
And that's like, if you let me pause on this because I could get really vulgar here. If you treat a service person with disrespect,
yeah,
you're an asshole.
Yeah.
End of story. I don't care what nationality you are. I don't care. If you're an American and you treat a U.S. soldier in the way he described that, you're the fucking problem.
Yeah, big time. Yeah, big time. Yeah, it's always been... I've seen it, like, especially, like, you talk to my dad, 30-year military career, maybe even further back, longer than that, actually, dating back to the Vietnam era. Your dad served in the military, too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And yes, Vietnam was one of the worst times to be in the military. Absolutely one of the worst times. Back then, they didn't have a draft. Or back then, they did have a draft, I should say. Back then, they had a draft.
Yes.
So you had no choice, unless you were Muhammad Ali, that decided to protest the Vietnam War and be a coward.
Yes.
Yeah, I said it. And skip out on military service. Yeah. But even throughout the 80s, when Reagan was in office, there was the hand-me-downs. They treated the National Guard as a hand-me-down. Here, have this tank that doesn't work. Here, have this gun that doesn't work. Here, have this, something else that doesn't work. We need you to fix this. And it's like lowest of the low tier, basically. They treated the National Guard kind of like shit, basically, for the longest time.
Mm-hmm.
And then, really, ever since Desert Storm, everything changed. Everything started to change. And there was more of a focus on, like, okay, well, we got to make sure not only to protect our own troops, like in the foreign wars that they go into, but also here domestically. And thank God that decision was made, because we've had our fair share of a lot of problems, both with natural disasters, but also with like uprisings and things along those lines, where it's, things have been kind of pushed to the edge. Whether or not you agree with the president or not, the fact is he was elected by the majority of the people, and the majority of people have said, we don't like all of these illegal immigrants coming into the country. So he's tasked the National Guard, or whatever the case may be, with the military to secure the border. And when, Johnny, your point's spot on. When you attack that, you're attacking the president. Your better thing to do is to write your congressman and basically say, hey, I don't agree with this particular policy. You give him hell. You don't give the people that's wearing the uniform that's protecting your right to be an idiot, or to portray your opinion, even though it may be the most unpopular opinion. You still have that right because of the people that's wearing that uniform. I've heard all kinds of insults too, Johnny. Oh, your dad's putting on Superman costume. No, he's not putting on a Superman costume. I've heard that, and it's like, he's not a comic book hero. He chose to serve in the military. A lot of these people choose to serve because they love the country. Bottom line, they absolutely love the country, and they love the ideals of it. So yeah, I could go on and on and on. Gosh, that could have gone.
And no, I want you to go a little bit on and on, because they chose to serve the people, to protect the people.
Heck yeah.
They didn't. They gave up their ability to have a bullshit 9-to-5.
Yep.
And not care about anything like you do, eating potato. Not you.
Yeah.
I'm talking society as a whole. Eating your potato chips and talking about dumb shit because your dog keeps shitting in the fucking middle of the floor, and you don't know how to discipline anything.
Yeah.
These people chose to defend our right for that.
Yeah.
And to hear that anybody is degrading them it's
pathetic.
It's not okay in my book.
No, it's not.
It's not okay.
No.
At all.
Absolutely
it's
not
okay.
Yeah.
We need to normalize that.
What you do.
We need to normalize that it's not okay.
Yeah. What you do is, when you see someone like that wearing the military uniform, you go up, you shake your hand, you say thank you for your service, and you get the biggest smiles that you get from people. I've done that throughout my entire life, whether it's been primarily at the Wegmans. It's really Interesting. Like a couple of times at the Wegmans, I've seen a couple of guys in military fatigues getting a
That's awesome.
sandwich or whatever, and it's like you go up to them, you shake your hand, that kind of stuff, and it's
Thank
great.
you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
you do that. That's the thing
Give
you
them a
do.
grill. Cook them a meal.
Yeah,
Do anything that you can to make them feel better. It's the ultimate sacrifice.
yeah.
It really is. It's not funny. I travel for a living. I give up my home life
Mhm.
for a large portion of my year.
Yeah,
That pales in comparison to what they do.
100%.
I don't get shot at every day.
Yeah, yeah. Or I don't have to deal with all kinds of bullshit every single day too.
Yeah.
But these two, and I'll mention this too before we move on to topic one. These people are highly trained. Like top to bottom, they are highly, highly trained in what they do. And I've seen the drills. I've seen, like, over the course of my career, the technology gets better and better. How they handle an urban environment, how they pacify urban environments, how they go into each individual building, make sure it's clear, then they come out. How, and all that kind of stuff, how they have live fire drills, all that kind of stuff. They don't just show up, and that used to be an old trope too. Oh, you just get like country boys that go out there and, they just stick them in a tank and they'll drive. They don't know what they're doing. They know exactly what they're doing. They are highly intelligent, top of the line people. They care, about their country, but they also care about themselves because they're putting themselves in harm's way. And so there is a strong bond that's developed in all the units that served in any state in the Union, and of course in the entire active duty service as well. So to poo-poo or to kind of say what this guy said, I mean, yeah, it sucks. That it's a shame that very fortunately there are only a small minority of people that are jealous because they wish they had the balls to serve the country. And yeah, I'm being a little heated on that, but I don't care. I mean, that's what it is. There's a jealousy.
Go for it.
They're jealous, Johnny. That's what it's all about. They put these people that do that don't have the balls to go in and say, hey, okay, I'm going to serve. I feel like I need to step out of myself. I'm going to put this burden on and I'm going to serve the country in this manner. It takes a special person to do it. But for them to kind of come back and, oh, you're an idiot. You don't know. And all you're disadvantaged. You're economically disadvantaged. So you need the GI Bill to help you out. Bullshit. That's absolute bullshit. The amount of people I've run across in my life that have served the military, I could give you a who's who, and they are top of the line people. They love their troops. They love their people, all that kind of stuff. I could go on and on, Johnny. I mean, it's just, it sucks. It still sucks that still exists out there. But I always tell myself it's a minority of people. They don't matter.
It is, but they need to just stop.
Yeah. Like, treat them to a beer, for God's sakes. You see somebody, treat them to a beer. Treat them to a meal. Shake their hand. Thank them.
Yeah. Even if you don't have any money, just say thank you.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with that. And they love it. They absolutely love it. So, all right, John. Well, now we're on this train of BS. Let's go on to topic one here.
It's like we planned it.
Yeah. It just gets, it's going to go from bad to worse as we move on, but there is light at the end of the tunnel. It gets brighter here. John, we're riffing here on the media, and let's talk a little bit about the political media in particular. I ran across a hilarious article. We don't have one in particular. We were just talking in pre-production, like, this is probably just going to be a riff, but to kind of get you started, CBS News, emphasis on the word BS there, got nominated for an Emmy. John, they got nominated for an Emmy.
Yes, they did.
For outstanding edited interview. The interview in question was the Kamala Harris word salad that she gave in regards to answer a question about Israel and their involvement with Palestine, of course, and we don't have to go into that. But basically, the editors got an Emmy nomination for outstanding edited interview, which cracked me up. And I said, of course they did. because they had to edit that piece of that piece of crap in her word salad. But
Well,
what were you thinking
in
here?
context,
Yeah.
in my context, let me just put this out there that
Mhm.
Trump has a lawsuit against them.
What was it, like $20 billion or
Because
something like that, right? Or something?
yes,
Yeah.
yes. He
Yeah.
actually has a lawsuit against them because he called that on his campaign trail.
Yeah. Yeah.
And said, and all of a sudden, the Emmys are now out. Like, that was edited great. It was awesome. Yeah, because you're all sleeping with each other.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
all against the American people. I hate you all.
Yeah.
I hate you all. I hope it wins the Emmy.
Yeah.
So the American people can see what kind of bullshit we've been dealing with for 30, 40, 50, 150. I don't care. You right wingers, you throw it back as far as you want. Left wingers, you can throw it back as far as you want. I don't actually give a shit. I want change.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, they deserve an edit because she's a fucking idiot. And I'll leave it at that with her. Like, she's never been smart. She never will be smart.
Yeah.
She holds the same distinction as our distinguished co-host, Steve Murray.
Which is a shame, given his...
Steve wouldn't wipe his shoe with her.
Yeah. Exactly. There was another one that I'm trying to remember, like, off the top of my head, in regards to the media. Oh yeah, White House Correspondents' Dinner. That is a waste of time, number one. But they had the audacity this week, apparently.
Absolutely. And that's taxpayer money, by the way.
Oh yeah, 100%. That's 100% taxpayer funded.
Doge run, it's tax.
Yeah. That needs to go. That needs to absolutely go away. But they had some of those people had the temerity to basically say, well, we're the media basically is, how do they put it? That we have to make sure to be the fact checkers or something along those lines. I'll have to see if I can find it. I'm like, no. That's not your role.
No.
We exist to hold the government accountable. That was the biggest phrase that I heard. We exist to hold the government accountable.
Can I riff on that real quick?
Oh yeah, go for it. Yeah.
That's Nazi propaganda 100%.
Yep.
Propaganda. Learn that word, people.
Yep.
Propaganda.
100%.
That is all that is going on in the media right now. Whether it's Nazi or Russian or China, they own half of us, so that's probably China propaganda.
Probably.
All communists. Shocking. Oh my God. Communism took over. Oh man, I didn't know. Oh my God, I didn't even know that happened. I didn't even know that could happen. Yeah, it did happen.
Yeah.
Now we gotta get ourselves out of it.
Yeah.
The media is compromised. If you're getting your news from major news networks, Fox News, CNN, MSNBC, even that fucking right-wing one that is dumb, OAN.
Oh yeah.
You're not getting the proper news.
Yeah.
I had this conversation with my wife. We were talking about social media. We had an in-depth conversation a couple hours ago, right? And we were talking about how on apparently social media, TikTok and Instagram, everybody's in a food shortage right now. Everything's going a shitstorm on the internet. And then we circled back to, centralism. When you went, I was like, when you went to the grocery store, what did it look like? It looked fine. When I went to the grocery store, I'm 400 miles away from her. It looked perfectly fine. Everything looked stocked. The prices were, a little higher, but not much higher. It seemed okay.
Yeah.
And then we started to get into what has social media become propaganda? And we went into a long conversation about that. Has social media become propaganda? I believe so.
I think so.
Is that what the media is trying to feed into? Is that where we're going?
I've always thought the media has always had a propaganda wing to it, whether it's on the left or the right. It could be either one of the two. And
Oh
I
no, absolutely agree with you.
and it really, I think the biggest thing for a lot of people to understand is people come at certain stories with a certain level of bias. The insidious thing that's happening on the left side is they deny their bias, where they really should own it. To be perfectly honest, I think there would be a lot more respect for the mainstream media if they call it that. They still call themselves that. If they owned their bias and said, yes, we are more left of center, I would have more respect for them. I don't have any respect for them because they flat out deny that they have a bias and they lie to you and say, no, what you're hearing is straight talk. That's bullshit. And I know it's bullshit. I know it's bullshit because of many years that I've gone through all of this stuff. In my lifetime, I've always seen it. And I'm always starting to also notice it on the right, Johnny. It's the same way. When you look at a Daily Wire.
Let me speak.
Yeah.
Let me speak on the right for you.
Yeah.
The right wants to tell you they know how to fix it when they know nothing to how to fix it.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know. They do not know how to fix it. They've always been the party of. This goes back to our interactions many years ago.
Yeah, yeah.
They've always been let me use real harsh terms. They've always been the limp dick party. They always couldn't figure it out. They always didn't want the left, which we totally agree now. Most centrist people realize that, yeah, we don't want the left. The left is crazy and radical. But the right is not smart and hasn't figured it out.
The authenticity is missing. Yeah, go ahead.
I understand that the right-wing media wants to fight against the propaganda, and that is going to, because the left is full of propaganda, and the right is full of anti-propaganda. I'm not picking sides, I'm just telling you exactly how it is. Like, Joe Biden's a fucking criminal.
Yeah.
The right says Joe Biden's a fucking criminal. The left is like, he's just a great old man. So see how it pulls into, and that is exactly how it works with whatever topic you want. I just use that because that was the talking point.
I think
that's how it pressures the center.
I think part of it too. You talk about Joe Biden, and that's such a great point. We saw that happen in the debate, and you see his folks, his administration was practically denying everything that everyone else saw. What I mean by that is, this guy was not fit to be president of the United States. He was senile. He was docile. He was, he at times looked like a vegetable. And I'm being very serious on this. He looked like he was a stale broccoli up there. Like nothing.
Yeah, he was just a fun old man.
Yeah, and yet, everyone saw it except for folks that were on the inside, and including a couple of other Democrats that were like, no, yeah, he was fit. I'll never forget, there was like Elizabeth Warren, who's a little bit of a Looney Tune anyway to begin with. She was interviewed by somebody on a podcast. The podcast host was like, are you sure you saw, you didn't think that he was president? You saw that he was fine. And she kind of gave like this half-hearted answer of like, yeah, he was perfectly okay. And the look this podcast host gave her was like, are you serious right now? Like, the podcast host knew exactly what Biden was. And yet you had people on the left that were like, no, he's fine. So who's pulling the strings? Like, what are we seeing here? It was so evident. Absolutely so evident. And yet there was this spin. Yeah. Go ahead, Johnny.
And that's even the crazy because nobody wants to believe that he's a criminal.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And he's been a criminal for years.
And he has been since the 70s.
Yeah.
If you don't even need to take a deep dive.
Yeah.
Like you could just braze a couple articles from the 70s. But apparently they're not available in media today.
Yeah.
You just praised a couple articles to find out that this dude might be one of the most corrupt politicians in the history of the world. And I'm not even getting into dealings with his son. I'm
Yeah.
not even getting into the island that he owned. I'm not getting into that bullshit. I'm talking about like Washington, D.C. They were writing articles about him that he was one of the most corrupt politicians, and he was in bed
Yeah.
with Bird, the
Robert
KKK
Byrd
member.
Oh yeah.
He was in a group that wouldn't, if we knew them today in today media, they would be vilified. And he was sitting in bed with them, but nobody wants to talk about that.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to talk about that.
Nobody. And especially
but that's how corrupt.
Yeah.
But that's how corrupt the media is.
Yeah. No doubt.
They don't want to tell you stories.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. It's like if you have that should be discussed in an open forum, because that matters in the way that you run your government ultimately. You basically elect people that are of sound mind and things along those lines. And you can debate that all you want, but the bottom line is you should not have a KKK member in there. Why? Well, they're biased in a very hateful way to begin with. So they're automatically disqualified for what they're doing and what their lifestyle is. That's why lifestyle matters so much, and how people can think. I've been reading a book recently, Johnny, about like how to be like essentially like the Christian and a citizen, so the country. And the biggest thing they talk about, this author is talking about the political divide in the country and how bad it is. And a lot of it comes down to worldview and how they view the importance of government. Progressivism wants government to be fully in charge. And of course, like on the other side, the Republicans want limited government. We want to be out of your hair. We don't want to be in your hair all the time. And to the left, that is a negative. It's like, what are you doing? We need this government. It needs to be good. It's like, yeah, okay, but so there's this tension back and forth, of course. My whole point is like with the media, going back to them, the media it really needs to look at itself in a mirror. And I think what's happening too, the mainstream media needs to look inward and basically kind of just hold up a mirror and kind of say, okay, what are we doing wrong? Well, you suck. Number one, you have a bias. You need to get rid of it as much as you possibly can and just report straight facts. Just report straight news. None of this bullshit where you have to have like you're a puppet or whatever the case may be. And I think the rise of the media, podcasts like ours, podcasts like others, Nerdrotic, others that are out there, that really talk about like the issues of the day where they see what's going on, they don't like it, and they voice their opinion on it because they remember what it was like back in the 70s and 80s and 90s or whatever the case may be. And not because it's nostalgia, they want to bring it because they know it was good back then. They know it was really in depth, all that kind of stuff. And I think that's going to help. More and more podcasts that come out like ours, like I mentioned Nerdrotic before, that's going to help. It's going to massively increase the level of like people's thought processes, their IQs, all that kind of stuff. We hope we're doing that, at least doing it in an entertaining fashion. Knock on wood. But John, what do you think? I'll give you the last word. What do you think?
Don't buy into the bullshit. Just if you're interested in the subject, just figure it out. Just understand that they're not telling you the truth. They're really not telling you the truth. That's the only thing. The internet, although we post on the internet, I'm telling you, the internet's the worst place in the world. There's some good books out there you can probably read that will help you better. So turn this podcast off and just go read stuff.
There you go.
I'm joking, of course.
Well, that was good, John. Always love that. Always love bashing the media left and right. And hopefully people did read if they did read a book, it was like on another time, not now. That kind of a deal.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah. Just watch it fully and then.
Yes. Exactly. All right. Topic 2. This will be really quick because another part of the legacy sport, the media that's having a problem is the sports media. And, if you were watching our podcast last week, you notice that, of course, Shedeur Sanders drafted in the, I think, 5th round. Yeah. Or was it the 4th round? I can't remember.
The Cleveland Browns, yes.
It was definitely day 3. No one expected him to do it, all that kind of stuff. And Rich Eisen was doing a lot of Mel Kiper as well. I thought he was the next greatest quarterback in the history of the world. And we're horribly. Which he might be. Yeah. But clearly he's a project, according to a lot of NFL scouts out there, and doing their inexact science, I might add, with the NFL draft. But that led to basically a whole bunch of ridiculous takes, outrageous nonsense, including Howie Roseman getting interviewed on Rich Eisen show, in which Eisen tried to bait our general manager into saying, hey, you really should have taken Shedeur. Were you planning to do it? And Howie's like, no. And Rich tried again, and Howie's like, no. What are you trying to do? Trying to bait me? It was like, well, there you go. Oh no, I'm not trying to bait you. I'm like, yeah, you are. And hopefully that video got completely ratioed. I don't know if it was or not. I really hope it did. But anyway, Johnny, real quick, sports media also having the same problems as the legacy media here. Thoughts? What do you think?
I've proclaimed the ESPN virus many years
times
ago.
Yeah.
And I think we've talked on this podcast before. I think it has infected the actual media.
Oh yeah.
Like the ESPN virus, which is, he was the prodigal son. He's the Nike candidate. He's a young black man, 6'1". I don't know his whole thing, but he's probably 220.
Something like that.
He can throw a football.
Pretty good.
That's who they wanted to be the number. They didn't want, what is his name? Cam Ward, the number 1 pick?
Yep.
They didn't want Cam Ward to be the number 1 pick because he doesn't fit their protocol.
Yeah.
And so all of a sudden, what happens, the media is that the Cam Ward is a hell of a player. So's Shedeur Sanders. But from what I read, is that he's a dick.
Yep.
And that's why I didn't get drafted.
Yeah.
And hey, ladies and gentlemen, if you're going to go to a job interview as an asshole, you're not going to get the job. It just doesn't work that way.
At the top.
Lesson learned.
Yeah, one of the top, in fact, the top professional league in all of North American sports, the NFL. You can't just walk in there and say like, oh yeah, here I am. Yeah, I'm going to be your next big thing. And really, not even close to that. Now, maybe that will light a fire on him. Who knows? Yeah.
The fact that Rich Eisen didn't even touch on that shows that he's compromised.
Yeah.
And he's not reliable.
Yeah.
Pat McAfee, the new media.
Yeah.
If you listen to Pat McAfee, he was like, yeah, heard some rumors.
Yeah.
It wasn't good for him. He was drafted in the 5th round.
Yeah.
I'll leave it there. You know what I mean? Like, but that's what I'm saying. But who's compromised?
Yeah.
Rich Eisen.
Yeah.
ESPN, Mel Kiper. They're compromised because they're like, he's the most upstanding human being that has ever existed in the NFL.
In the history of the world. Yeah.
With.
Yeah.
Which I agree with, by the way, that the NFL is racist. But they're racist. They didn't take them. They suck.
It's like, okay.
When you promote, but that's what I'm saying. When you promote sports like that, you're a fucking idiot if you're listening to it. Because what Pat McAfee was absolutely right. He said, heard some things. He didn't say he knew them for sure. I heard some things. He fell in the draft. Sorry, not sorry.
If
that's real, but that's real life.
If he heard,
dude's a dick.
If he heard some things, right? If Pat heard some things, why didn't Dion squash those things real quick?
Because you can't touch the real.
Yeah. Right?
You can't. What is Dion going to call Pat McAfee and be like, hey, I'll give you $1 million? That makes me be like, I make I make $43 million a year between wrestling and this thing. Like, you can't touch me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But you notice Dion didn't talk about it. You notice Dion didn't talk about it because he knows his son's a dick.
Yeah.
And I will stand on this podcast and say that's why he did not get drafted. I said it on the last podcast.
Mm-hmm.
The dude's a dick, and that's why he didn't get drafted, because the general managers didn't want to deal with it.
No.
And look what quarterback room. If you don't believe me, look what quarterback room he fell in. You got an old guy, an idiot, and a dude that is probably going to be arrested again.
They got 5 quarterbacks, Cleveland Browns do. 5 in their quarterback room. Now, how is that going to work? Like, honest to God. I mean, that's Cleveland's problem, to be perfectly honest. Meanwhile, what is the Eagles? What do? They end up drafting a young kid who led the ACC in passing. I mean, and won, only lost 2 games when he was in Ohio State. I think we're okay. Howie
Roseman is not stupid. He's not going to put that person in the room.
Exactly.
You're not going to put that. The dude's a dick. End of story.
Yeah.
I'm glad that he got. I hope the NFL finds the people that faked him out with that bullshit thing.
Yeah.
I hope they find him and they prosecute him. But you deserved it.
Well, here's the thing. Let's
you deserve to be trolled.
Let's talk about that real quick, because you had a lot of prank calls happening in around draft day. And what happened with Shador was he got prank called by one of the sons. I think it was the son of the head coach of the Atlanta Falcons, posing as the GM for the New Orleans Saints, or attempting to.
Yeah.
Got fined by the NFL. Okay. I think the NFL could fine both the coach and the organization.
They totally should be fined. Absolutely.
But here's the thing. My only gripe with the NFL was this had been happening. Now all of a sudden, because it's Shador Sanders, this happens, and oh my God, we have a stink about it in the media. And one organization finally gets called out. Now we put the hammer down. Roger Goodell. What the hell?
I have a bigger question for you, Matt.
Yeah.
You're a nice person, correct?
I try to be. Yeah.
And you treat everybody kindly. Right?
I try to put people kindly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Do most people walk up to you and just slap you in the face for no reason? No.
Unless you're my mother. No,
but
she doesn't do that. Yeah.
Correct. You don't live your life of running around being slapped in the face.
Right.
Did they get wind that he's a douche and they could have made some
probably
funsies with him? Yeah, I think so.
I think
he's a douche.
Yeah.
He's a public figure. I can say whatever I want about him. I think he's a douchebag, to be honest with you. Mm-hmm. I think he's a self-entitled douchebag. That's not on his father. I think his father is a good human being.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with Dion at all.
Yeah.
But I think that kid, kid needs a fucking reality check.
He needed a reality check.
That kid
needs.
Yeah.
Now, where do you think with the NFL, real quick? I mean, like I mentioned before, the whole thing was they fined the Atlanta Falcons. Like, it was an exorbitant sum, right? And also the head coach for the whole bit.
Well, good, because the head coach didn't fucking handle it.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. This had been happening. It wasn't like this was just an isolated incident that the NFL all of a sudden, oh my God, this was happening. It happened to Cooper DeJean last year. Guy who intercepted Pat Mahomes in the Super Bowl. Hell yeah. But it happened to him. Now,
Matt had to get that geek out there.
I absolutely. I mean, I'm never going to live. Can't live this ever down, man.
It happens all the time in the NFL.
But
maybe Roger Goodell is so archaic.
Yeah.
That maybe he just kind of caught up to the trend.
Yeah. It only took him
he's the worst commissioner ever. Yeah. So maybe he just figured it out.
I don't know. I think
high profile guy.
I don't know. My boy Manfred might be wrong.
Sanders. Yeah. Maybe Shador Sanders is so big that he finally looked at the fucking problem, because Roger Goodell's an idiot.
Yeah, that could be too. Yeah.
Oh God, I got hit with a traffic cone off the back of a truck 14 times. I should probably fine them for that.
Should probably pull the car over.
That's Roger Goodell.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's Roger Goodell. He's a fucking moron, so I don't care.
There you go. one thing I can always count on with you, Johnny, is that every time we do a podcast or something or other, and we look through the media bullshit, it's amazing how I haven't pulled the rest of my hair out, number one. But it's always good to have a laugh, to laugh at other people's misfortunes. I guess why Schadenfreude is making fun of the media all the time. I love it. Hey, speaking of...
we started this thing, because they're all full of shit.
Oh, they are. Oh, 100%. Hey, did you all know that we have a website? Too Noobs talking about WordPress.com. Yeah. I don't have anything clever to say like what Steve does, but what you can do is you can check out our website. And while you're there, you can basically enter in your email address at the bottom of the page and hit subscribe. And that will post or send you an email, actually, on when a new episode drops, whenever Steve decides to actually, do his job and post a damn episode on the website, which I hope he did. Seriously. You also find out more about us.
Vacation. He doesn't give a shit.
Exactly. We have my God, now it's like episode 239. So we almost have like 100 episodes now that are on this website. That's crazy to me. Going all the way back to episode 140. But then prior to that, you have to go to our YouTube channel. Of course, you can like, share, and subscribe there. We really would appreciate it. 106 subscribers, Johnny. We love it. Thank you out there in Too Noobs land. Hope you're all doing a great, hope you're having a great day or whatnot. We really appreciate you. And, we love delivering this content. And speaking of content, Johnny, topic 3 here. Got a weird file. Of course, it's in the South, right? Which is crazy. CBS Eyeball News, News 3, WRBL.com.
That was derogatory from you, northern ass.
Why is everything so strange in the South? I don't understand this. We have a video here. A kangaroo.
We got more land than you. There's not that many Walmarts.
A kangaroo is apparently safe after hopping down I-85 in Alabama. Of course, it also caused a little bit of a 2-car accident, obviously, with people going like, what the hell?
Which is north and west, or north and south, so it isn't actually the South, because he could have been in the northern part, and that would not be,
I love it. Denver Van Deventer. How about that name? Denver Dan Deventer, who captured video of the kangaroo on I-95. Yeah, that sounds like a made-up name. He was quoted in this article saying, quote, "I was actually on my way back from a work inspection, driving down I-85, when everyone started slamming on the brakes suddenly. Multiple law enforcement vehicles with lights on, even a game and fish truck that passed by. No idea what was going on, slowed, came to a stop. Cars, then as the cars in front of me started moving again, I looked up to go, and that's when I saw it. Oh, that's a kangaroo, and the thing's hopping away. They eventually did, he followed it basically for about 5 miles an hour and got the video. Because of course you do in social media. You have nothing else better to do than hold your phone out while driving the car.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, exactly. So it was near mile marker 46.
If you did.
Mile marker 46 in Macon County where this thing appeared. The animal was not hurt. They were able to wrangle the kangaroo, whose name is Sheila. It's an interesting name for a kangaroo. I don't think I would have called it Sheila. I would have called it Hoppy.
I wouldn't name my kangaroo Sheila.
Yeah.
I don't know any kangaroos, so I don't have naming rights.
The owner, they were able to capture her in Auburn AU University. I guess that's Auburn University. I'm guessing Alabama or something or other university down there. She was awake, munching on hay.
Right?
Yeah. She was awake, doing just fine, munched on hay, no injuries, just a bit more famous than she was yesterday, according to the article. Yeah. So thankful to everyone who slowed down, made sure. Go ahead. What do you got?
Can I say it?
Yeah.
Fuck you, have a kangaroo.
Yeah.
It makes no sense.
Yeah.
Like, seriously.
Now
it hurts my head. Like I'm just gonna hold my face together so that I don't get too. What the? And why did it get out?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Well,
okay.
It probably got out by going boing. Yeah.
No, but I have a kangaroo, right?
Yeah.
I have a kangaroo in Alabama,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wouldn't I create the facility in which the kangaroo could not escape?
You would think.
That's an exotic animal.
Yeah.
It's an exotic animal. I believe you. Can you own one in the United States? Probably, but
I would
own anything.
I would think so, and especially
What the hell is going on?
Especially in the South, for sure. I would think so. Not a dig at the South, but I'm just saying. I don't see many kangaroo pet licenses up here, Johnny. I'm just saying, up here in the North. I think if a kangaroo hopped around here, it'd be kind of crazy.
They would beat the shit out of everybody.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. And it's cold, and they don't like
cold. Yeah, they live in Australia.
Why do you have a kangaroo, and why did you have that thing in a? Did it break out, or you just had a shitty
I think it did.
Fence?
I think it did. I think it hopped the fence.
Yeah.
I think it hopped the fence.
I think the owner is a pretentious piece of shit that bought a kangaroo on the black market, and they should be deported immediately. That's what I think.
It's an illegal immigrant.
Why do you have a kangaroo in Alabama?
Don't get it. I don't get it. And of all places to name it, Sheila.
Deport the kangaroo and the person.
Right? Right? Oh my gosh. We've had the Wally.
Get the hell out of here.
We've had Wally, the emotional support alligator.
He didn't like anything. We're fine.
But and we thought that was the most exotic pet we run across, but no, a kangaroo in Alabama. Although it does, I've often wondered what they're like in person. I think they're probably like one of the nicest animals you probably would run across in the wild.
No, they're Mike Tyson. They're Mike Tyson.
But they're out there trying to.
Have you seen the videos?
Yeah.
Those things want to eat and fight. Like they hate dogs and they don't like people.
Yeah.
Why would you have one?
Why?
It's just. Oh.
Could you imagine?
People.
Yeah.
People.
Yeah. I don't know. Crazy.
You hurt my heart. You really do.
Yeah.
You really do.
Oh, goodness. One thing is for sure, though, Johnny. If I ever get a kangaroo here, one, I don't know where I would put him. And secondly, I wouldn't name it Hoppy. I'm just saying that's a little bit on the nose.
I know.
Yeah.
That's a little bit immature. You could have called it anything else.
But that, right? Anyway,
anything else. Like there's so many words in the English language. Hoppy was not the one.
Not the one. Well, why don't we hop on over to topic 4 there, bud, and let's talk a little wrestling.
What a great transition.
Well, I try. Steve's the better transition, but let's talk a little wrestling, bud. You and I had a lot of fun doing this.
That's not true.
You and I had a lot of fun doing this the first time we did it without Steve. We talked a lot about the state of the Judgment Day, of course, back in the I forget what episode number that was. It was way back in the time.
Yeah, that went to shit, by the way.
It really did. That kind of died off. It was really amazing. Yeah. But since then, we've had a WrestleMania, so let's talk WWE. We now post WrestleMania. You now have John Cena heel for the first time in his career, although I think he had heelish tendencies throughout his career. Just side note there. But he is now.
I could just throw up at the whole run.
Yeah. And of course, The Rock. The Rock deciding not to show up. And a lot of people think there's a little bit of beef between him and Triple H, and Triple H talking for an hour at his Hall of Fame speech and not mentioning The Rock once. I heard that. So, what are your thoughts? Let's talk first. Go ahead.
Okay.
Go for it.
The Rock. I can cover The Rock real quick.
Yeah.
So,
what do you got?
There's a story behind a story that needs to be told before the payoff. And Triple H is really smart at this. Okay, so The Rock didn't show up. Oh no, The Rock didn't show up.
What's happening?
We're shitty fans, and we just want this. So, answer me this question.
Okay.
Travis Scott has been involved in multiple storylines for the last year.
Okay.
Why would he show up instead of The Rock?
Yeah.
Deeper storyline.
Yeah.
The Rock's not gonna show up for the Rock's not gonna show up for the 17 championship, which I disagree with. But The Rock's not gonna show up there because it overshadows the 17-time world champion, which I also disagree because Ric Flair won way more titles than that.
Yeah.
So you're just telling a story that doesn't make sense. But what I'm saying is, if The Rock showed up and was the reason Cena was, then why would Cena have a run after that?
Yeah.
Oh, The Rock just pulled the strings, blah, blah, blah. I believe that. But why was Travis Scott there? That's what you need to answer. He's been with Jey Uso.
Interesting.
He's been with John Cena.
So what do you think?
Like what deep story are they telling? I think The Rock's totally involved, and I think Rock will pop up eventually, but I just think it's short-sighted to not understand the story that they're telling.
Yeah.
Instead of just being, oh, well, I didn't get what I wanted, so I don't like it. That's the product of WWE right now, and I don't like it.
The interesting thing is that Cody has not been seen on TV since the loss. And they've just gone
Smart play.
But they've gone into a Cena Orton for the 976th time.
Smart play, because the story that they're telling is John Cena wants to erase wrestling, and Randy Orton is a generation wrestler. So why wouldn't you go right into that? Why does The Rock need to be in Fox? Why does everybody want the cheap pop all the time?
Yeah.
I disagree with it in wrestling. Long-term storytelling is the only way to tell a story. That's every pop we've ever had is from long-term storytelling.
Yeah, like the Bloodline. Yeah.
Yeah, long-term storytelling. Roman shouldn't have lost at 39. He should have lost at 40. Why? Long-term storytelling. Cody doesn't win on his first try. Cody's not a winner. He's an achiever.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't win on your first time.
Yeah.
You lose, you pick yourself up, you get back to then you win.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? Like, I just think the wrestling community has lost our way in the fact of long-term storytelling.
Do you think The Rock, because you could tell, like, when that turn happened, right? The Cena turn happened at the Royal Rumble. Yeah, and he's like, he wanted Cody's soul, was the whole reason for, hey, I want you to be my guy. You know, that kind of a deal. And, you know, the turn happens, the slit, you know, the cut of the slit. I just wonder, like, if the fans, I think you're right. I think the fans are just wanting to see, okay, where is Rock's involvement in all this? Why is Travis Scott getting himself involved? Because he got himself involved in the Royal Rumble and then also at Cena's win in WrestleMania. So I don't think you see him at Backlash, but I do think
I have a question for it.
Go ahead.
I have a question for you real quick. Okay. So Paul Heyman turned on CM Punk and Roman Reigns.
Yeah. And that was a terrific double swerve, by the way. That was one of the best I've ever seen. Terrific.
So here's another question. Why did Seth Rollins on the next Monday night do the exact same thing The Rock did? Why? Did he buy Seth Rollins' soul?
But wouldn't that
instead of Cody's soul?
Maybe. But I see a dangerous alliance. I see a dangerous alliance forming there. Right?
But maybe that could be but you always, and this is the best part about storytelling, is he's always there. He's the final boss.
He's lurking.
There's more story to be told. There's more story to be told. You should not watch a Me and my son had this conversation when we watched the first night of WrestleMania. we had this conversation after that amazing match with the turn and all that.
Yeah.
We had a conversation about wrestling that is like, you should never be fulfilled with wrestling. Ever. Wrestling is anti-social media. You should never be fulfilled. You should be always wondering what's next.
Yeah.
How they're going to do it. What they're going to do. That's how we got the NWO. That's how we got DX. That's how we got the Attitude Era. That's how we got Hulk Hogan.
Yep.
That's how Bruno Sammartino has become a Hall of Famer. It's all about long-term storytelling. If you want instant gratification, they have go on Twitter. They have the Speed Championship. It changes all the time. If you want to just be a Minuteman, go do that.
Yeah.
Stop getting involved in wrestling because wrestling is long-term storytelling.
Yeah.
And that gets us to AEW because AEW takes a lot of shit.
Yeah.
Because their storylines don't make sense. But as a wrestling
there you go
aficionado. Sorry, I
got it out there. Yeah.
Sorry, I apologize.
That's all right.
AEW is not a bad promotion, and I also like what Tony Khan did with ROH because I enjoy that a little bit too. They're Chris Jericho being the champion and then losing to I can't remember.
Bandito?
I can't remember his name.
Bandito. Yeah.
Bandito. That was a 2-year story.
Yeah.
If you watched AEW, that was a 2-year story. He was a schlub masked wrestler, and he finally beat him.
Yeah.
2 years later.
Yeah.
That's a story. That's a wrestling story. Kofi Mania, 2-year
story.
Like,
Cody was a 2-year. Cody was a 2-year story. Yeah.
But see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think AEW is doing just fine. Are they my cup of tea? Absolutely not.
Yeah. I think the biggest. Go ahead.
Please, you talk for a little bit. No, I want to stop.
I was just going to say, I think having Kenny Omega back in the promotion right now is helping that promotion big time because, to your point, I think the problem with AEW was you had the Young Bucks were off TV. And you had a lot of individual matches, but no long-term. The Death Riders, I think, was way too long. I think Jon Moxley holding the belt hostage for an inordinate, a long period of time was ridiculous. And has been, really. And it's been to the detriment of the company. Although it has gotten some eyeballs on the company, they are the little engine that could right now. They are trying to stay afloat as best they possibly can. Having Kenny back is that's massive. And I think if you set up a good initial story with him and Okada, you get that kind of buzz going. You got All In Texas coming up. If you could get that off the ground a little bit and have a trilogy of matches, granted, it's not going to be what it was like in 2018 before the promotion. You're not going to get that kind of a match between the two of them, especially after Omega's like diverticulitis. That's just not going to happen. But if you could set up a good trilogy long-term where Kenny's, maybe there might be something on the line where he overtakes the Elite and essentially like usurps, like it's on the line or something like that, where I could see that happen.
Becomes the ultimate babyface.
Becomes the ultimate babyface and retakes the company back from the Young Bucks. I could see that, and then the Young Bucks finally get their, they get their comeuppance or whatever. Because they're heelish characters as well. I don't know.
I think are great heel characters, and I disagree with you on the Jon Moxley thing.
Okay.
I think that's exactly what you do when you're writing long-term storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have this dude that is he's a WWE guy.
Holding the belt hostage.
Everybody thinks of him as a WWE guy, and he's holding it hostage.
Mm-hmm.
So when Omega, and this is the long-term storytelling that that I love that Triple H is doing, I think AEW is figuring out, what if the prodigal son returns, the AEW top guy? He's John Cena all over again. It's a huge... I think they're doing well. I just don't think AEW, the only check mark of bad that I put on AEW is they don't produce young talent well.
Yes.
And my point is Ricky Starks, Ethan Page,
all left the company.
Guys that went back, they don't know what to do with already established talent.
Yeah.
Rusev came back, Aleister Black came back.
Yeah.
And they're immediate stars as soon as they go to WWE because they understand that product. AEW is years away from producing their own talent.
Yeah.
They're literally running on indie darlings.
Right.
Cesaro, Claudio Castagnoli.
Yeah.
Pac.
Yep.
John Moxley. Kenny Omega. The Young Bucks. Those guys. They know how to put on a show. I don't think AEW is producing anything that is quality for long term. But they have the players to make to play the game. I'm glad for an alternate promotion because people make money.
Absolutely,
if you have an alternate.
Yeah, absolutely. You see a lot of a good business in the wrestling industry as a result of that.
Yeah.
I guess the biggest question then for you, I have for you then is. Well, I've always wanted to ask you this. What do you think of Swerve Strickland in AEW? I think he's just Do you like him as a heel or a baby?
He's a top talent in any in any promotion that he decides to be. The dude is not only the best worker, his microphone skills are incredible.
Outstanding. Yeah.
I can't wait to see round 2 of him and Hangman. Because I think they figured it out. I've been a huge fan of what was his name? Isaiah Swerve.
Yeah.
Something before, like whatever it was. He's always been good, but this version of him is he could. If the WWE could get him away, he would be the guy to dethrone everybody. He would. He's so good at what he does.
They would strap a rocket to that guy.
In ring, I want to see Ricochet versus him because I think Ricochet could take him to a whole nother level. And hopefully they go that way. That's the only. There's a couple, I want to see him do Hangman again. He did Moxley, which I thought was a really good. I just don't like the Moxley guy. I want to see Moxley in WWE without the violence.
Yeah.
I just don't like the extra bleeding. It just... he's trying to be Dusty Rhodes in 1984. This isn't the concept. Dusty did it in 1984 and it was cool. You're not cool doing it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
When you fall backwards onto a bed of spikes, right?
I'm not interested. I'm just not interested.
Yeah.
But the guys but the people that are interested in it, go for it. That's cool.
And
he's a carnival character.
Yeah.
He's a carnival character to me.
If they put
if I could get a Moxley in WWE, I think it would be cool. Like a Strickland, if I could get him in WWE.
My God, cool. If Swerve ever went to WWE, and if the timing is right, where he walks in the Royal Rumble, he wins the title. He wins the Royal. Yeah, he's top guy easily. Yeah.
But he wasn't when he was there, and he worked on his thing. It's the same thing. Rusev coming back.
Yeah.
I think of Rusev as a decent mid-carder now.
Yeah.
Rusev, before he left, he was a throwaway carnival act. See, he went, he created the Redeemer character, which he kind of brought back to WWE. You gotta, but that's always performance. We don't do the same podcast every time.
Yep.
You don't act the same way. You learn.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Performance art is the most amazing art that exists to me. I'm not saying to everybody. Some people like paintings on the wall. Some people like to create it. the performance art that wrestling is to me is such a beautiful thing because it can be changed, it can be grown. It can be. Cody Rhodes was a shitty mid-carder.
Yeah.
10 years ago.
Yeah. Stardust.
He couldn't get over with his father and his brother.
Yeah.
Just think about that for a minute.
Oh yeah.
Your father is a Hall of Famer, and your brother might be the best professional wrestler that ever lived.
Probably the greatest worker ever. Yeah, probably the greatest worker ever.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you're literally like, think about that for just a minute of how wrestling progresses.
Yeah.
Cody Rhodes lived in that. His father was a Hall of Famer, and his brother might go down as the best ever.
Yeah. Yeah.
He couldn't get a sandwich over. Now he's the hottest merch sale. He's the new John Cena. He's the new. You know what he did? He went back to work and he figured it out. That's what I think Swerve Strickland needs to do. I think Moxley. I think Omega already did it.
Yeah.
And I think that's what you're absolutely right. I think Omega is going to be the pull in AEW.
That's massive. Yeah.
But I also think these companies need to work further together.
Interesting.
Because it's about producing the best product.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bring us to TNA.
Yeah.
What do you think of TNA right now?
Well, I the little engine that could, right? I mean, we've got this company doesn't go away, but they have really stepped up in terms of their quality over the last
Is that because WWE has a financial
I think so.
stake in them?
I think so. I think there's a financial impact in there.
Production got much better.
Production's better. Like vastly better. You look back to an Impact taping 3 years ago. And it's drastically different. It's a more intimate surrounding for one thing. And the way they shoot the ring is so much better. You're not in like some dirty bingo hall, basically. And you're not, and
we're not talking AJ, Samoa Joe.
Yeah, no.
We're talking after that.
Yeah.
After that.
Yeah, we're talking like 2021, 2022, I'm talking about. But I mean, Joe Hendry, coming and becoming TNA World Champion with probably the best theme song I think I've ever heard in 10 years.
It's not Aleister Black's, but
yeah,
I can dig it.
Yeah. Kenny, I think to me, Kenny Omega's like Battle Cry. I think that's the best I've ever heard. Period. I'm a huge mark for him. I would love to meet him in person. That's just my own thing.
I totally understand you're a mark for that.
Yeah.
Let me as our wrestling talk, I want to the first AEW show that ever was on TV, me and my wife are watching, and she knows a lot about professional wrestling. She's not a avid watcher, but she knows a lot about professional wrestling. She looked at the Kenny Omega match and she's like, "That was it."
Yeah,
I was like, "That's exactly how I feel."
Yeah. Of course, that's like throwing him under the bus. But anyway, no kidding.
It totally was. But I've always thrown Kenny Omega under the bus.
Well, I think that's only
because
with him,
he's not a WWE guy. He's an indie guy.
He's an indie guy, and
you have to like what you like.
Huge Japan guy. He was over in Japan for a number of years. Found his craft there. Had amazing matches, and I think a lot of it was Dave Meltzer was trying to inflate it a little bit, and I get that. I understand it.
But his Japan run was awesome. I'm not
can't discount that.
AEW run.
Yeah.
But I think he's the ultimate babyface to take AEW to the next level.
Yeah.
He's the John Cena of AEW.
Having him there is going to be a massive. Having him in AEW, I really do think is going to help stabilize that company. Yeah.
Hopefully they'll do the long-term storytelling.
Yeah.
For him to be that top guy.
Yeah.
Because that's going to bring all the young guys, and that's going to be hopefully. And I hate to say it because I don't want to give John Cena credit for anything because I think he sucks at everything that he does. I hate John Cena. And I don't like that he got the title. And I don't want
Yeah.
to lose the title. And I could care less if John Cena existed in this world. Let me be absolutely clear. Not a John Cena fan. Never been a John Cena fan. I think he's a douchebag. Don't care. But if they could create Kenny Omega as the
him?
John Cena type character, that would make AEW so much more valuable in the future.
Yeah. And help to really kind of stabilize the company a little bit too, I think, in that regard. But yeah, real quick with TNA, the interesting thing with them is obviously they're partnering with WWE. So you're seeing a lot of NXT talent over there. I like to see where that would go.
Vice versa. Yeah, you're seeing vice versa.
Yeah, you're seeing vice versa, which is good.
Yeah.
But I like to see where that's going to lead, I think, is probably the biggest thing. What I fear is... hold on. What I fear is there would be too much WWE talent in TNA broadcasting, because I fear like WWE is the juggernaut for a reason. And my fear is that if there's too much WWE talent, you're going to lose that branding. You know what I mean?
I think what they're trying to do is merge NXT and Impact.
And Impact together.
So you kind of get... So SmackDown and Raw will be up here, but they're merging because Trick just showed up with Joe Hendry, which happened on NXT and then happened. I think it's more engaging. I like to see Trick be an Impact champion before he goes to the main roster.
I could see that. Yeah,
because then I'm 3-time NXT champion. 1-time Impact champion.
Yeah.
I deserve to be here because I kind of like what they're doing. I don't know how much creative Triple H has in that, but
that's all Shawn Michaels, I think.
Hate it. Yeah, I don't hate it as much as I've seen on the internet. It could be a good breeding ground because you got enough. You got multiple. You can do the championships. One can come over. Jordan Grace came over to NXT.
Yeah.
She's awesome now.
Oh.
She made her bones there. Now she's there. Maybe she goes back and gets both titles at one point. Makes her a superstar. And then you promote her. There's so many things that they could do with it. I don't... Have they produced it well? I don't think so.
Jury's still out on that.
Maybe in the future it could be a good it could be a good thing.
Yeah. I think there could be and it's going to be interesting too. I think your point on Jordan Grace is great because I would love to see a women's belt. If there's anybody that could be a women's belt collector, it's Jordan Grace. You could get her as
absolutely
women's intercontinental, women's U.S. champion. She's got the pedigree for that. No question about that. So that has me excited about.
So I have questions.
But Tessa Blanchard, no.
Before we finish this off,
Tessa Blanchard, absolutely no. I don't know why they signed her. I don't. That's all. Yeah.
Oh, because Telly's involved.
It's gotta be. Yeah, there's gotta be some pull there. Yeah.
Just research Telly Blanchard and you'll figure it out.
Yeah, I figure it out from there.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So John Cena is the champion.
Yeah.
And Backlash is coming up with Randy Orton.
Yeah.
Book me Backlash, SummerSlam, and then we'll leave it at that.
Okay.
And then I will do my thing. So just do a little WWE.
So
you got Randy Orton. John Cena wants to erase wrestling history. How do you book Backlash? Just a main event.
Yeah, so the way I'm looking at it, I think that continues. As much as I would love to see Orton win the title, hot potato, you want to avoid that. The end goal of Cena is to, like you said, to erase wrestling history. And you're going after one of the all-time greats in Randy, right? So you want to do it in a way that is either nefarious, if you're Cena, or you do it in a cheap-ass way. Now, I think nefarious, what I would think there would be low blow, puts him through a table, drags his carcass, pins him 1, 2, 3, walks out of there, does his whole thing with a belt. He walks away.
Champion again.
Right. Champion, carries that through into SummerSlam. The question is then, who would be next? Because it's like, I think you have to set this up where he knocks out Orton. He has to also knock out another one on the roster that could challenge him for the title. Now, the problem that you have is you've got CM Punk involved with a potential Dangerous Alliance angle because he's got gypped by Paul Heyman. Ditto with Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
So those two are out of the equation. So the question is,
I agree.
who do you put in after the Orton match? And that's where I'm a little foggy, as to be the next person to go out. I don't think they go back to Cody that early.
No.
Because Cody's been
can't.
off TV since. And I think there's a heel turn coming for Cody. I really do believe that. I think that time away, it'll be interesting, like when he comes back, because he was getting booed. People wanted that Cena heel turn big time, and they wanted him to win at WrestleMania, despite the fact that you and I both disagree with it. But they wanted it to happen. They got it. So, but the question is, who on that roster right now would be the and I don't have the answer to that question. I don't know if you do. Because I think the problem is, like I said, you got CM Punk and Roman. Now, could I see Roman do it? Probably. Longest reigning champion, certainly in the last 4 years. Obviously, people love him as the original tribal chief, although he doesn't have a tribe now. What does he do?
If he beats him at SummerSlam, nobody would hate it.
Nobody would hate it. I think he does carry it till the end of the year. The question is, what I mean by Cena carries it till the end of his run, obviously, and he'll lose it, and that'll be it.
Yeah. And he doesn't have a lot of dates left, so yeah, it's very interesting.
Yeah, that's his.
What I would
that's his
that,
gimmick.
I think Travis Scott.
Yeah, there's got to be an involvement
again,
with him again. Yeah. Yeah.
Because I really think that he's a huge cog in the wheel, and what I'm saying is that is he's been with Jey Uso, he's been with The Rock, he's been with Cena. There's something going on there that I don't understand, but I'm saying I think maybe he doesn't interfere this time, but he's going to be. There's going to be something where The Rock is involved with Cena. And why is Seth Rollins doing this when The Rock did this is my question. Are they all in alliance together? Did Paul Heyman turn on Roman not because he was turning on Roman?
You still have
he was with The Rock and Seth Rollins sold his soul. That's what I'm saying. I think Seth Rollins is going to come up in this big time because maybe to save wrestling, Seth sold his soul. So I don't know. Either maybe Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker get involved at Backlash, or Travis Scott.
I think
there has to be some interaction.
I think your Travis Scott is on the money. I don't think it's still too early for Seth to get involved yet. I do see him down the road, though.
That's true. That's true. Maybe that's SummerSlam. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Maybe that's SummerSlam.
That could be a SummerSlam angle. But that would mean that you would have to flip Cena face. Because I think Seth is more of the natural hero. Your boy. I think your boy is more of a natural hero than...
No, they can both be heels because he'd be helping Cena because he's helping The Rock.
And then he turns on Cena.
Well, Cena would go ultimate babyface before his end of his run, is what I'm saying.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, and in order to do that, you have to cause Seth to swerve on Cena, possibly.
But the ultimate fuck you would be Seth on Roman because he sold his soul to The Rock, and then you set up the next WrestleMania. That's the way I'm thinking.
Your thing with Travis Scott, though, I think you're right. There is a tie-in, and especially with Jey Uso, which I didn't realize that he was with Jey Uso.
Jey Uso,
back in the day.
Jey Uso and The Rock. Yeah, that was shortly before he appeared with And Jay's world champ right now.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very interesting. It's.
Yeah. So I mean, what do you think? Do you think Cena beats Orton right at Backlash? I would think that would be with you. Would you agree with that? Do you think?
Yeah. Because I think it goes on the SummerSlam. I don't know if it goes beyond SummerSlam.
Yeah.
Maybe Orton rematches, beats them.
Maybe.
And then Seth comes out.
Mm-hmm.
I think, to be honest with you, I think Jey Uso is the other guy in the Dangerous Alliance because I don't think it's a Dangerous Alliance. I think The Rock has put together the guys.
Huh. Which would be
everybody's been compromised.
Which would be
and
Seth.
Then you'll see that
would be Seth, Braun Breaker, Jay,
and then one other guy for Survivor Series.
Mm-hmm.
And then Roman gets ultimately betrayed by Seth in the longest story that's ever been told.
But didn't that happen at WrestleMania anyway?
Not really. He did it the nice way, but now he's doing it the evil way. I think it sets up.
Really?
I think it sets up Seth Reigns 1-on-1 for both titles at WrestleMania. I think that's where they're going.
Huh. Because I
on the line.
World Heavyweight and Universal, whatever they call it. Yeah.
Put them together. Seth, Roman, we've been waiting for this for 12 years. So I think long-term story, I think that's where they're going.
Yeah.
And the only way to get that is the biggest betrayal.
But that
Seth not even took.
I don't disagree.
Seth not even took the Shield.
Yeah.
He took your family. Like, he took the family. He takes Jey Uso. He takes.
Okay.
Remember, Seth takes everything away
from Roman. Yeah.
So if he takes Jay and The Rock is behind it, it only makes Rock the super heel.
Mm-hmm.
Or Rock just disappears and it's a Seth Rollins story.
I think
Which I'm okay with.
Yeah. I do think that there would be, though.
I'm just spitballing. I have no
I like the idea. I like the idea, though, of like the collusion between the Seth and The Rock. I do like that idea.
Yeah.
And again, it could
happen.
And it could happen.
The third
goes back to Travis Scott. What's his ultimate involvement in all this? And it's
interesting.
It is. And it's a nugget that's like, huh. Because you're right. He's been involved in both the Cody betrayal and then also in the WrestleMania. You know, so it's like he did cost.
And he appeared with Jay. And he paired with Jay Uso before he won the title.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be really, really interesting.
Does Seth steal his? Does Seth steal his bloodline? Could that be the ultimate story that we're getting around to? Is Seth that devious? Probably.
Yeah, it's funny because like his first heel run, like it's funny. It's like that's popped into some of the YouTube, my YouTube algorithm, like going all the way back, and it was really bad back then. It was like the Authority. Oh God, that was really bad. That was
By the way,
so
that's some
bad.
Of the best work he ever did.
Yeah.
That's some of the best work he ever did.
He did at the time. Yeah, at the time he did. Yeah. I mean,
at the time, what you were dealing with, he was a good
character. Yeah. But now
this is a meta.
Yeah.
He tried to help Cody to save the business.
Mm-hmm.
Cody won, but remember they had that conversation where it's not going the way it's supposed to. Yeah. Cody, you're losing yourself.
Yeah.
What if he decided to check? Because Seth is always willing to check out. What if Seth checked out?
Yeah. Yeah, and you think about
that.
I hope
I'm right. I hope this goes.
Could you imagine?
And I'm fucking right.
Can you imagine, like, and especially, I think, and the thing, too, is, like, they're going to have to do it quick because of Cena's availability, right? This is his last year. He's made it known. You have to flip him back face very quickly. And I think if you could get that done before Survivor Series, that's massive.
Yeah.
Because then you have War Games there.
Survivor Series has to be Cena. Yeah. Survivor Series has to be Cena,
Cody
with Roman, CM Punk,
Cody.
And finally sees his way.
Yeah.
Cody. And then they're going against Seth Rollins, Jey Uso, Braun Breaker, and whoever they pick along the way. I think that's the way they go.
Yeah.
Maybe even Jacob Fatu. Maybe he steals Jacob
I was just going to say, we haven't talked about him, and that dude, he is tearing it up. My goodness. Been so impressed with him.
What they're doing.
Yeah. And that small little storyline with him and Solo.
He's the best athlete they have.
Yeah. Oh, hands down he is. Like
slow burn.
Yeah, hands down he is.
Slow burn.
Yeah.
Slow burn with that.
Yeah. I think you milk that as long as you possibly can. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Solo becomes U.S. champion eventually, but I think they're going to run some crazy stuff with that because I think that's an alternate story.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be surprised if Seth got Jacob Fatu because why not put
werewolf.
Why not put Braun Breaker and the Samaritan Wolf in the same group?
Oh, good Lord.
Dude.
Dude,
with a leader, you got Jey Uso as the right-hand man again.
Yeah.
Champ?
Yeah.
Flanked by the champ?
Yeah.
Like, oh my God.
And they're
so good.
And they're running WWE.
Seth is just this guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Jay's the man.
Mm-hmm.
Those two are flanked by the champ. Seth Rollins doesn't wrestle for months, and he's just he's the god of professional wrestling, basically.
He's the Messiah. He's the Messiah all over again. Yeah.
Yeah.
Be interesting.
His hair's getting a little bit blonder.
Yeah.
He's telling a story. We're just not watching it.
Yeah, exactly. It's your boy.
It's going to be fun.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun this year. Yeah. It's going to be very interesting to see what they do. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. But yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, of course. Yeah, it's always a lot of fun. Yeah, so that ends.
If it's all wrong, it's the internet, so don't believe yourself.
That's our version of fantasy booking, right? At the end of the day, so that's what it's all about. That's right. But that ends.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Of course.
I appreciated all of it. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you for leading the show.
Absolutely.
You're the man.
Absolutely. As our episode 239 of Two Noobs Talking, we will be back, of course. All three of us will be back next week. Steve, I'm sure, will lead off going like, I have no idea what you guys have talked about in topic 4, and that's okay, because we're going to have a counseling session. We'll talk to him.
I'm cutting promos the whole time. Just joking.
Number one is career. There you go. So you got to start somewhere, John. You got to start at the foundation, work your way up. Exactly. All right. Well, for John, I'm Matt, and we'll see you next week. What does Steve say? I forgot. Oh, yeah. Get out.